Marcus Eikenberry in real life, and let's talk about something a little bit different than the challenge today. Let's talk about what we can do with our cryptocurrencies. You know, so many of much of what drives me in dealing with cryptocurrency, and this keeps coming up over and over and over again. One is that it's commerce. It is a vehicle for commerce, just like cash is a vehicle for commerce. And being an entrepreneur, any way that I can translate value from one person to another, or from someone else to myself, from myself to someone else, is an attractive thing for me. And that could be bartering. It could be, precious metals. It could be, all kinds of things. And so I look at cryptocurrency as one of those, as one of those vehicles for commerce. And I know that cryptocurrency wants to be this. There's some hurdles to get over, though. And one of them is my experience with, figuring out for the first time that I bought something with Bitcoin, that I had this network fee, which was actually the mining fee. And that this fee was, to pay the miners, and, like these guys right here. Yeah, And, so people need to be paid for these transactions, and this is how this all works. It takes out, they might be considered the middleman, maybe not, but, it was a kind of a harsh realization to figure out that I was paying $1.50, $2, or whatever for the privilege of purchasing an item. That item happened to be $7, and by the time I was all done, it cost me $10, and it wasn't a very positive experience. And so there's a lot of people who are trying to solve this, and they're trying to solve it with other currencies. Part of the problem, though, is that Bitcoin is what has gotten the traction, and Bitcoin is what's in, is accepted a lot of different places and everything. And people who don't understand Bitcoin, like the place that I made a purchase from, they had never had anyone buy something with Bitcoin from them before. And so they didn't know about the network fee. And if they had known, would they have set up to accept Bitcoin as payment? Because their stuff is like $5. And if you have to pay, like right now, at $7,100, the fee is going to be, to pay the miners, is going to be $2, $2.50. Now you can lower that fee, but you are paying for time. And so if you make that fee lower, then it will be longer before it gets picked up, because people want to pick up the highest paying jobs first. And I'm sure that all their shit's programmed that way. And it makes sense. So your stuff could sit there for a while. And if you want it picked up right away, you might pay more than the average. But, do these people who are taking the money, who are accepting Bitcoin, do they understand this? And I don't think they do. Only the savvy ones do. And then would they look at this and go, okay, why bother? Who wants to buy a cup of coffee for $5 that, they're going to have to pay another $2.50 on top of it? So that is one of the commerce problems that I'm now thinking of. And because we are adding Bitcoin to our store, and we will be accepting it. We're in testing right now, but in our average price that somebody pays is maybe $50, but still, even $2.50 on a $50 order, that's still a lot. I mean, seriously, that's 5%. That's a huge amount. So, why would people want to use it? I mean, maybe they're going to buy something that's more expensive and it'll be worth their time, worth their money. So, it's a very interesting conundrum. And now there's other coins out there that are trying to solve this. And there's coins that are trying to solve many different things. Some of them are trying to solve the issue of like these high fees and long times that it takes for Bitcoin. You know, what is it? Bitcoin can only do 14 transactions a second or something like that. I mean, you think about it, and doesn't that sound kind of nuts? But it is the first one, and who knew back in, what was it, 2009, when Bitcoin was first released into the wild, that that there would even be anybody trying to do more than 14 transactions a second. I mean, it seems like a lot, but in reality, if you look at like Visa and MasterCard that are probably doing, you know, at least a couple thousand per second transactions, if not more, that, you know, it seems kind of ridiculous that it could get any sort of adoption. And so they're trying to solve these problems, and I want to be a part of that. And now it's up to me to figure out how to do that. And so envision, if you will, that I want to be able to accept payment from customers with cryptocurrency. And since the person sending the funds pays the fee, that network fee needs to be as low as possible. And I still need to deliver as soon as possible because people are impatient. People want to receive their goods right away. And like right now, we accept PayPal, accept, you know, credit cards and all that stuff. But, and, you know, they get the orders very, very quickly. And, you know, what made me think of this today was that somebody placed an order and our system held it for a review because it saw something that was wrong with it. And I took care of it in less than a minute from seeing it. So maybe it was 2 minutes after the person sent the payment, but they had already sent in an email saying that they were in a hurry. I mean, come on, really? But see, this is not, I'm not putting that person down for being in a hurry. I'm just saying that this is a natural part of commerce and people don't want to wait. So with Bitcoin, how long do you have to wait? Half hour? You know, I don't know. I guess that's about how long I've been waiting for. Now, for the first notice of a transaction, you know, maybe within 5-10 minutes, but to get those multiple verifications so that you know that it's not spoofed or anything, then it's a whole different deal. And so, you know, it takes longer. And will customers be willing to put up with that? Okay, so that's why atomic transfers are coming, and why everybody is a buzz about that, because it looks like those are going to happen in seconds. And then with that happening that way, I actually don't know this, but do atomic transfers have any sort of mining fees associated with them? If they don't, then that's great for commerce, and it's really bad for the miners. And are the miners then required for part of this? I mean, the infrastructure has to be paid for somehow. So people have to be making money on these transactions. It's just a given. So in a normal retail sense, you know, if you're accepting a credit card, the merchant that you're buying something from that is taking a credit card is paying somewhere between 1.9 and 3.9% to accept your money on a credit card. Plus, they're paying a transaction fee, which is typically about 30 cents. So if you think of it, a $10 purchase would be 30 cents that the receiver has to pay, plus 19 cents or 39 cents, somewhere in that range. So we're looking at maybe 40 to 50 cents total. And the merchant eats that fee. That's part of that, eats into their profit. In cryptocurrencies, it's from the sender. And it's a much different way of thinking about things. And I think that the first time that people encounter this, that are not used to using cryptocurrency, they are going to look at this and go, what the fuck? You expect me to pay you to give you money for that product? You're nuts. I mean, just think back to the first time you used some cryptocurrency to buy something and you realized that you had to pay a fee to send it. So these are all hurdles that we need to get over, and so it needs to be that someplace like an example would be Coinbase, that is with GDAX, which is what we're looking at on the screen right here. And in that, with Coinbase, they don't charge for most of the trades if you use limit orders. And they do that because it's all contained within their system. So, is it possible then to do something like connect to Coinbase and allow other Coinbase customers to buy through our store and to send us funds within Coinbase without incurring those fees? I think the actual answer is no. But it is an interesting question, that can an ecosystem be built where people have their money, and if they transfer within, can they do it at zero or very low cost? So anyway, I'm just talking about some things to think about, some things that are on my mind, and things that I'm going to work on with commerce. I'm going to come up with solutions for these, and I'm going to test things, and then go forth and hopefully produce, like, actually, let's do some commerce and let's fix these issues. So that has me excited, and I'll be out of my office the next couple of days working on that. It's one of the things that I'll be working on. So I would love to hear your comments on this too, if anyone's already solved these issues. Because I have seen some solves out there or some solutions, but I've not seen any that are getting large adoption. And other than, something like Litecoin costs less to transmit from one person to another, and I don't know if it's quicker or not, but I have seen that it can cost less. And so then you ask, okay, well, let's not accept Bitcoin. Let's just accept Litecoin. But then you have to educate everybody how to transfer or exchange their Bitcoin for Litecoin. Becomes another step in the hurdle. Anytime you have a step in the sales process, every step reduces conversions, meaning that, well, like the example of Amazon had their one-click checkout. And it was so powerful they patented it, which by the way, that's expired now, and others are able to do that. But they realized very early on that if you reduce the friction, like how many pages you have to view, how many clicks you have to do, how much data you have to enter in for each transaction, that more transactions will happen. And it's just kind of a rule in commerce. And that rule can be, anywhere. I mean, look at your convenience store as compared to a big grocery store. Why is it that you stop in at a convenience store and you pay more than to just stop in at a grocery store? It's because you're paying for time. You're paying for less steps. You're paying for more convenience, easier checkout. And it's kind of the same theory. So, those are some thoughts for you. Those of you who are doing commerce, brick and mortar or e-commerce. And I would love to hear your comments. Now, there's one other thing today that has happened, which is, well, there's a couple of things. One is Bitcoin is a roller coaster. And it's all over the place. So, you got to be careful with it now. And it may be that it's going up and down, and so I think that it would be very prudent to be very careful with your Bitcoin, what you're doing. I am just going to hold. So I think that it's starting to freak out a bit because we got the next fork coming up, and the next fork is in 9 days. It could be 8 days if things accelerate, because it's at a particular block number. So when that block number hits is when it happens, and then it's going to be apeshit crazy for a day or two after that, as people who had their, they know they had their stuff there, and so they're getting their fork or whatnot. If there is earnings to be forked out, it's still also confusing. Everybody's jockeying positions. I am going to go through with my Bitcoin at Coinbase, GDAX. I won't have any buy or sell orders that involve Bitcoin during that, and I'm going to ride it through and see what happens. So, but there's some scary stuff going on with Coinbase, with what they're saying, and how they're saying that SegWitX2 may be the new Bitcoin, and that's very possible. There's a lot of reasons for that, and it's a little bit scary, like a military coup. So, I'm taking a gamble that my Bitcoin will be relatively safe there. I do not have, I'm not like filthy rich with Bitcoin. I don't even own a whole coin. But what Bitcoin I do have, I'm parking it there because they said that they are going to fork it. So now Litecoin has been recommended by many as being a safe haven for the fork, for people who don't want to be in it. It's really kind of interesting what's happened, because today, Litecoin, was it, I don't know, like yesterday it was at $54, 24 hours ago, and now it's over 60. And it doesn't hit this very often. So it has hit 60 and higher a few times, but it's not very often. It also makes me look at this and go, damn, I wish I had more money in the market, because I would, take these lows, 53, and this high of 61, and be like, okay, I buy at 54 and I sell at 59, and I make $5 per coin on every revolution of that. And, how often does it hit 60? It's not actually very often. But it has happened. So if we go back to September 14th, let's take where we can hit a triple hit here. So, September 15th, let's see, 18th, September 18th, and then that's 57. And then, let's see here, October 15th or so, and then November, we're on the 7th, so about once a month. Now, just think of it, that if you're tying up $54 and you're cashing out at $59, so at $54 to $59, we're looking at a $5 spread, $5 profit. And so it's a 10%, you're making close to 10% per month on these revolutions on your dollars. 10% per month is nothing to be ashamed of. That is really awesome. So because you would double in 7 months, something like that, 7-8 months, and so because it compounds. And so, I look at this and I say, wow, that is really easy looking back on these markets and everything here. And the line may change a bit, because a lot of these tend to go up in value and everything. But, so that's one area. So at, making 10% on that. And then there's Ethereum. And see, Bitcoin, I'm not recommending this kind of thing for Bitcoin, because Bitcoin just keeps going up. Now, I will say, though, that I told you guys I was going to buy into Bitcoin, and I did, and I got in at $7,008. And I waited for it to be low, and then it's going back up, and I fully expect that it's going to be 77 to 8,000 by the end of the challenge. That's what I'm expecting. Now, I'm not an expert. I'm not a financial advisor or nothing. So that's just what I have as an expectation for myself. I'm not telling you that it's going to do that. I might be disappointed when we get there. But that's where it's at. And then there's Ethereum. Now, Ethereum has these jumps around when you're looking in the long term of, I kind of like this one because $310, and let's get down at the lower end here, that we can hit like 282. Holy cow. So let's just be conservative and let's say 290 and 305. So 290 to 305 is 15 bucks, which is about 5% on turning your money over. So if you buy at 290 and sell at 305, how many times could you do that in this, 3-month period? And so, if we look at 290 here, so it has to be down below, not above. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 times in this period. And then 305, actually like 305. That's really close right there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one up here, you got to count that all the way through because it goes above. Well, this one dipped down and then goes back up. So 8, and then 9, 10 here, 11. So in 3 months, could you get 10 revolutions of your money at 5%? So 10 revolutions of your money at 5%, let's break that down to 3 revolutions of your money per month at 5%, and you're at 15% profit. And so that's better than the 10% on Litecoin. But they're both kind of on different scales. They're not necessarily tied to each other. And so when one goes up, the other one doesn't necessarily go up. Sometimes they do, but they don't always follow that pattern. And so, 15% a month, I could go for that. And it's really as simple as buying lower, selling higher, and then maybe having a couple of stair steps on the scales, meaning that, you are buying it at 290, 291, 292, and then you're selling at, 305 or 304, 305, 306, something like that. Because you may not always hit all of those, but, that way too, you're still falling within the range where you're probably not going to lose anything. And if you want to take it further, you could be buying at 290 and selling at 310, because it does hit 310 actually a lot more often than you may think. So look at all those lines across there where it's hit 310, and so that's many days. You could possibly make that. I tend to be a little bit more conservative because it's not about how much money you make in each transaction. It's about how many times you can flip it. So think of this. Think of it like this. When you are driving a car and you're driving long distance, what is the time suck on that? It's not the driving. It is the stopping. As even if you're stuck in traffic, you still make time going forward. And it's when you stop, when you're not trading at all, that you're not making any money. So the money has to be in motion in order for it to make you profit. If it's not in motion, it is not making you any profit. It is stuck. And so just think of that. And next time you're taking a road trip, and it normally takes you 10 hours to drive someplace because of all the stops you're making, what if you didn't stop all that much? You stopped just a couple of times for bathroom breaks and you brought food with you, or whatever. So, it's kind of the same thing. And so, now also Ethereum had something really interesting happen today, which may still be going on, but there was a bug found in Ethereum today, And last report I saw, which I have not verified these numbers, said that there was $230 million worth of Ethereum that was tied up in this bug. And apparently some people were able to make Ethereum go poof. I don't know. They're working on it. So that is my thoughts on the market as it is right now. And what I really want to do is I want to do commerce and I want to do transactions. And so whether those transactions are buying and selling, or whether those transactions are, selling product and receiving payments, or whatever, that's what I want to be doing because I believe in the cryptocurrency markets here, and I think that they're here to stay and they have purpose. And because they have purpose, because they are filling a need, they're not going anywhere. And so, there's a bunch of naysayers out there saying that Bitcoin's gonna, is just a bubble, it's fake, it's whatever. Clearly they don't fully understand it. They haven't embraced it. I might have been one of those thinking that, a while back, but now that I've gotten into it and actually started using it and started studying it and starting to understand the culture and start speaking with people who are using it, I get it. And there's no going back. Unless the entire thing dies, there's no going back. We are here to stay with cryptocurrency. I'd love to hear your comments or read them. Please do leave them below. You can hop into our Discord, which there's a link to that, and discuss in there. Plus, there's a link to the Reddit, which is the group that we are in. It is a day traders group, and it's not for everybody, but they have a free trial into the group, and they do charge for access. Although it's really turbulent times right now, it's hard. It's actually hard for even the pros to make money. The pros are sometimes saying stop, which means they're not making any profit. It means that they're serious about it, that there's issues going on right now, a lot of volatility in the market. But I'm learning a lot from this group. Even though I'm not doing a whole bunch of trades off of what they're recommending, I'm watching these things and I'm learning. And so the education's been good. Anyway, hope to see you there. I'm Marky Dragon. Take care.